Hey guys, it's Dan the Man, aka Daniel's son. I'm getting a little bit better. You see, my voice is not. No, I'm still sick. But you know what? This video basically is about the Punisher, Frank Castle. I love this character. This is one of my favorite characters, and I think this character hasn't been done justice in film wise or overall just media wise. I mean, we have Daredevil coming in on Netflix. We have, I believe, not Jessica Jones, January Jones. I think it's Jessica Jones, or another spinoff basically of Marvel coming on Netflix. Two Marvel shows that's coming on Netflix. Now we have Peggy Carter. We have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. As you know, the rights to the Punisher and Daredevil came over and went to Marvel. So Marvel has free reigns to make, and apparently they're using Daredevil, but they're not using Frank Castle, the Punisher. Now, a lot of people say, well, how are they going to use Frank Castle? Because that is such a gritty character. That's a character that kills, that's violent, that takes no nonsense, and is really like Deadpool. You need Frank Castle in a rated R movie or in a rated R environment, such as, I think that's why I think Netflix gets free range, because you can make that a gritty place. But then again, like Marvel has this fun, fluffy tone they're trying to keep. So having Daredevil, who's a little bit darker in a sense, we'll see in an upcoming series that's going to be premiering, I believe, in February. No, I'm thinking March or February. We'll see how that tone is, because it all matters about the tone. That's why Ant-Man's Edgar Wright left the project, because they felt his tone didn't fit the MCU universe. And we all know that Marvel's, everything's connected. Agent Carter, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Daredevil will be connected, and also the other series, January Jones. I don't know too much about that character, or Nick Cage, I believe. Excuse me. So where does that leave Frank Castle? Where does that leave Blade? Where does it leave those characters? I don't know if they got the rights to Blade back yet. I think they do. I think they did get the rights to Blade as well. Now, the Punisher, in my eyes, if you took out Batman in a Christopher Nolan trilogy and you put Frank Castle in there, perfect fit. Perfect tone, perfect villains. Well, not villains, but perfect kind of mafioso type deal going on in that whole franchise that would have been perfect for Frank Castle. They need Frank Castle in that kind of tone and that kind of pacing and that kind of environment. He's the guy who's going to take down all these mafiosos, because we all know his backstory and how tragically his family was killed. There's a lot of rewritten work from Frank Castle of how his whole origins came to be, but I believe that the Punisher can work. Can it work on TV? A lot of people want to push him to go to the TV route like Daredevil, but that would be nice to see. That would be actually pretty fun to see him and Daredevil team up quite a bit, or even him and Blade. I believe Marvel has Blade's rights back. If that's the case, I would love to see Blade and Punisher really team up. Now, we all know Punisher really came out in Amazing Spider-Man series, so I always loved the fact that maybe one day we would get a Punisher and Blade crossover as well, just a little cameo. Now we know Frank Castle is in the MCU universe, because if you watch All Hail the King, the little one shot that deals with the Mandarin and that whole situation, I believe you see a couple of the members from the mafia gang that killed Frank Castle's basically family. I think you see a little hints that Frank Castle is in this universe, and I want to see him in here. Now, who could play Frank Castle? Who could be the main lead? I actually did not have a problem with Thomas Jane. I think Thomas Jane was a great fit for Frank Castle. The only problem was that wasn't a great movie. When I look back at it, I mean, he had cool cars, he had that cool fight scenes. I mean, they had everything. They had the cool, they used the shirt appropriately, but the problem was that movie just wasn't any good. John Travolta was laughable as a villain, and that was something to say. I mean, they're better off getting Samuel L. Jackson, see what I did there, Pulp Fiction, than John Travolta in that film. That film was definitely a letdown, and like I said, I wanted it to work, but it did not work, and it didn't make any money really at all. And then we had Warzone. We had another adaptation, another big screen of Frank Castle, and that starred, I can't remember his name, but he's in Rome. He's actually a really good actor, and he actually really fit the grittiness of Frank Castle as well. I preferred Thomas Jane over the next Frank Castle, but the Warzone Frank Castle, but I thought Warzone was what it got right was the grittiness, the violence that Frank Castle portrays in his life. Like when he takes out all these criminals, like he is a no nonsense character. He gets what he wants. So I thought the rated R-ness for Warzone was great, but that movie fell short too. It just really didn't feel. It just wasn't. It's definitely an underrated comic book movie. It is something you should check out if to have fun with, but it definitely isn't the Frank Castle I wanted to see. And then you had Dolph Lundgren, but do we really need to talk about Dolph's Punisher movie? I mean, that was that even a Punisher movie really? So let's leave that out of there. Now, I believe a lot of people are saying TV show, and it could work in a TV show, but you're not going to get the same great effects or anything like that. I think you need to put the Punisher in a cinematic universe. You need to make movies off this guy. This guy is a good character to use that. The problem is they don't channel that Godfather-like Scarface type deal when it comes to Frank Castle in movies. Al Pacino's looking for work. Al Pacino would be a perfect villain if they tame him and he's not all over the place. Even Robert De Niro. Bring Robert De Niro in and bring Al Pacino in as one of these mob boss, like a very nostalgic feeling with The Godfather, somewhat like that, and bring him in this Frank Castle and have a legit, really premise. And you got stars. Robert De Niro and Al Pacino's star has withered, but this could be a great comeback if you do this right. I think you get the director who did John Wick. He definitely knows his actions. That movie was one of the best movies of 2014. And I think he would be a perfect director for this Frank Castle Punisher movie. Who do you get as the Punisher? Now, that's the biggest question. I don't know who you'd get. Honestly, I haven't really looked into any actors. The only actor that really comes to mind is Thomas Jane. Why not bring Thomas Jane back into the fold? If you saw that little short film with Thomas Jane as the Punisher, I forgot what it is. Dirty Laundry. Dirty Laundry, great short film. That is a great Punisher little shorty. 40. Near 40. Well, anyway, yeah, that's a great short, and they use the Dark Knight music, which is kind of crazy. When they're getting a heist, that is a great short, and I think Thomas Jane really offers a lot if they give him some motivation, if they give him something to do. So Thomas Jane, I would think if he comes back to a Punisher role, I'm all for it. But if they get somebody else, I'm all for that too. I think Punisher is great fit for a darker Marvel. I mean, you don't necessarily have to have him in the Avengers, but it'd be nice to have him in this, like, as the TV shows are going at it, right? Daredevil and stuff, you should have them as the Dark Knights. You should have them as Marvel Knights, the darker version of the universe of this Marvel universe, because it's not all hunky dory in this Marvel cinematic universe. There's also the underbelly. What's with how does Mafia deal with all these superheroes? How does all the gang life deal with all these superheroes? There always is, when there's something light, there has to be something dark, and I think Punisher definitely fits into something dark area. You don't have to necessarily have him cross over with the Marvel Avengers cinematic universe, but you can have him as a cameo here and there, maybe talk to Tony once in here and there for a while. But I think if anything, if they're going to use Punisher, they'll probably use it after all this is said and done, after the Infinity War and stuff. But I believe Frank Castle, the Punisher, does deserve a shot at least. For Disney deserves to try to make something a little bit more grittier. Use the director who did John Wick. I think he's a great candidate. And I just think the Punisher needs to get his dues. If you're going to make a TV show, that's fine. I guess the TV show is fine as well. You can go that route. We can do a little Sons of Anarchy style, you know what I mean? The gang, that would be pretty nice. A little Sons of Anarchy, Breaking Bad type deal, AMC type feel to it. That tone, like Breaking Bad tone, is great if it was the Punisher, but of course the goofiness and stuff. You mix Breaking Bad with Sons of Anarchy, and then you have Frank go after these characters, because I think the problem with Frank Castle is he doesn't have any memorable villains, really. He doesn't have any people to go against. That's why I say bring in like a Robert De Niro or Al Pacino if you're going to make a full-length movie, but tame him down a little bit, Even a Joe Pesci might do. But if you bring Frank Castle in, we also got to love and maybe like the villains as well, the mafiosos that he's going to deal with. Yeah, it's a tragic thing that his family gets killed, but you know what? There's two sides of the story, and if you really put the spotlight not only on Frank and on the villains, you can make this a very special series if you go the TV route or even movie route. So that's my thoughts on the Punisher. We're seeing a lot of Marvel properties get their dues, and we're not seeing the Punisher really get his chance. He's had chances before, but they were done horribly wrong. I think he needs one more chance to showcase why we love the Punisher, why we like Frank Castle. There is a fan base for Frank Castle, and I think Marvel and Disney are kind of, if they're gonna go, that's fine that they're rebooting Daredevil. Why not reboot the Punisher, or at least bring in Thomas Jane and try to salvage that? Anything, just a little bit more Punisher would be nice. So that's basically my thoughts on it. I wanted to make a video on my thoughts on, it's pretty much a character spotlight of the Punisher and where he is right now and why he's not being used like he should. Like I said, give me that Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan type of feel to the Punisher, that grittiness. If you want realism, this is the moment to do it with Frank Castle. But you could keep it in the MCU universe, but you know, the MCU universe is light and fluffy and comedic. That's the tone they set. But there's also an underbelly, and I think the Daredevil is going to really showcase that on this Netflix series. Also, the Nick Cage and January Jones or Jessica Jones. Damn it, I can't remember. So thank you guys for listening. And once again, if you like this video, please press the like button and please subscribe for more videos. I'm going to be doing a little bit more character spotlights on different aspects like anime, of course, comic book characters, overall just characters in film series. So look forward to that. And thank you guys for listening and have a great day.